what is blockchain. So blockchain is a digital mechanism to create a distributed digital ledger on which two or more or multiple participants in a peer-to-peer network can basically exchange information or assets directly without the need of any kind of trusted intermediary. So if you see blockchain, so it is a distributed digital ledger, and the participants have to be in a peer-to-peer network, and there is no need for any kind of trusted intermediaries. So these are the key aspects of blockchain technology. So blockchain basically helps you to authenticate the participants, and they helps you to validate what they own in terms of the kind of assets and they want to exchange, and the overall transactions which takes place. So blockchain network or technology helps to authenticate and validate the assets and the overall transactions which place in the network. So blockchain record basically the information pertaining to a transaction on a digital ledger, and as we say, the copy of is independently held and updated by each of the participants in the network. So that's how blockchain technology helps you to keep a copy of the record with each of the nodes or each of the participants in the network. So the records are unchangeable, they are time-stamped, they are encrypted, they are linked to each other in the form of blocks, and each block, as we call, is a cluster of about 2000 transactions which are recorded in form of a group, in form of a these transactions are linked and clustered together to form a group. So blockchain, as we call, is a peer-to-peer distributed database. It is time-stamped, and it holds a record of all the transactions that have ever occurred on the network. And as we call, blockchain basically records and secures the transaction in form of the blocks that are chained together, they are combined together, they are accessed together. So that's how these blocks are basically connected by the kind of hashing algorithm, and that's how you can see the complete set of transactions all together. So once any kind of entries which has been recorded in the blockchain network, you can always see the copy and history of it, and then all these get stored in the previous block, and then you can always see if there's any kind of changes which has happened to it. So blockchain, as we call, is a ledger which store all the information in form of an immutable record, wherein the information can be shared and the authentication of information can be trusted, because the chances of it getting tampered is relatively very low or minuscule. So the same point which we discussed in the last slide is demonstrated graphically. So Sally sends you some Bitcoin, Bob sends Joe some Bitcoin, and Mark send Tammy some Bitcoin. So all these transactions are validated, all these transactions are collected, and these transactions get stored in a block. So all these transactions stored in a block number 10, and that block 10 would be appended to the block 9, and all these B1, B2, B3, B4, B5, 6, and 7, and 8, 9, 10, these would be connected in form of a network of transaction or network of blocks, which can be accessed by anyone and everyone. So you have the history of all the transactions which has happened in the network, and that's how your whole network is open. The chances of transactions getting tampered is relatively minuscule, because all these transactions are secured with a timestamp on it. So that's basically a blockchain in a nutshell, which is a timestamped distributed digital database to ensure that data is protected. So now let's talk about what are the different types of blockchain network. So as we call it out, there are various types of blockchain networks. So you have public blockchain basically, which allows anyone to participate at any level they want. All you need to have is some kind of mining or the native cryptocurrency. So you need to have the compute devices so that you are part of the whole network. So that's a public blockchain. So public blockchain are more of a permissionless blockchain, and it is an open network system where all the devices can freely access without any kind of permission. So the ledger is shared and transparent, and the transaction of records can be accessed, or it can be viewed across by anyone and everyone. So that's a public blockchain. So as a part of the private blockchain basically only allows some of the trusted parties to operate within the network. So private blockchain is more of a secured or the permissioned blockchain, wherein a user has to be permitted to be the part of the blockchain network. So he or she can only access the network if he is authorized or part of the network. So there is a kind of control which is there as part of the private blockchain. So the user might join only if he or she is authorized to be part of it through the kind of invitations which he receives. So that's a private blockchain wherein only the trusted party have to be allowed to operate in the network. So that's the difference between the public blockchain and the private blockchain. So now as a part of the hybrid blockchain, so hybrid blockchain is basically a combination of both. So it basically gets the full access to its blockchain network. And as we call, many have some form of mining and native cryptocurrency to work it out. So hybrid blockchain is basically a combination of, it has the features of the public as well as the private, wherein you have full access to some of the nodes which are part of the network, and you have restricted access to other ones. So that's a hybrid blockchain. And as we say, there is another concept called the permission blockchain. So they are the types of the private networks. They can utilize some of the blockchain technology features and functionality. So that's how you can have these some of them as a permission blockchain as well. So and so in the permission blockchain, you need to be ensuring that you have to be part of the network to access those transactions, because otherwise you will not be able to see those transactions. So you can always see there can be combination of public private, there can be combination of permission and permissionless blockchain. So these are the combinations which are possible as a part of the blockchain network or blockchain technology. So now let's try to talk about the types of nodes. So there are two types of the nodes. The first is the full node. So it is a type of a node which basically stores the complete history of the blockchain network. So all the transactions which has happened in the blockchain network will be stored in the full node. They are basically used to verify all the rules of the system. So they are the nodes which have the complete view and sight of the site of everything which is part of the blockchain network. So that's called the full node as a part of the blockchain network. The second type of the nodes are called the lightweight or the client nodes. So the lightweight nodes basically verify the transactions. They verify it by piggy banking on the work which is done by the full node. So they basically use the work which is done by the full node as a proxy, and based on that they verify whether the transactions are authentic or not. So these nodes can only download the headers of all the blocks, and then they check the transactions by utilizing a system called simplified payment verification, SPV. And that's how these nodes which are called the lightweight or the client nodes, they have limited features and functionality as compared to the full node, which basically store the complete history of the blockchain network.